You just drag that embarrassing photo from college, the one, into the recycle bin. With the final, satisfying click, you hit empty, poof, a tiny animation, a brief flicker of the screen, and it's gone, vanished, obliterated from existence, right? A digital sin, absolved, that's what we all believe. It's what our computers want us to believe. But what if I told you that the delete key is one of the biggest lies in the digital world? What if that file isn't gone at all? What if it's still there, lurking just beneath the surface, a silent ghost in the machine, waiting for the right spell to bring it back from the dead? Today, we're not just talking about technology, we're embarking on a digital seance. We're going to pull back the curtain on our operating systems and journey into the hidden graveyards of our hard drives and SSDs. We'll uncover what truly happens when you delete a file, why gone doesn't mean gone forever, and how you can perform a true digital exorcism to ensure your secrets stay buried. Let's start with that first, seemingly simple step, moving a file to the recycle bin or trash. We see it as a final destination, a digital garbage dump. But in reality, it's not a dump at all, it's a waiting room. Think of it this way, your computer's file system is like an office building. Every file has a specific office it lives in. When you delete a file, the operating system doesn't march into the office, pack up all the furniture, and burn it. That's a lot of work. Instead, it just changes the name on the door to recycle bin, room 101, and moves the file as entry in the main building directory to a separate pending eviction list. The file, its data, all its contents, they're all still sitting comfortably in that same office, completely untouched. This is why restoring a file from the recycle bin is instantaneous. The system just goes to the pending eviction list, finds the file's original office number, and changes the name back on the door. Nothing was ever actually moved or destroyed. But then comes the moment of truth. You empty the bin. The system confirms, are you sure you want to permanently delete these items? You click yes, surely, now the digital shredders are fired up, right? Wrong, this is where the second, deeper layer of the illusion begins. Even when you empty the bin, your operating system, in its infinite pursuit of efficiency, still doesn't bother to destroy the data. It does something much simpler, much lazier. It just walks over to the main building directory, finds the entry for that file's office, and puts a big red vacant stamp on it. The data, the photos, the documents, the spreadsheets are all still sitting right there inside the room. The only thing that's been erased is the public record of who occupies that space. The door is now unlocked and the space is available for a new tenant. But until a new tenant moves in, the old one's furniture is still there. To understand why this happens, we need to zoom in, way in, to the physical landscape of your storage drive. Whether it's a spinning hard disk drive HDD or a silent solid-state drive SSD, data isn't just splashed on there like paint. It's organized with microscopic precision. Imagine your hard drive is a colossal, perfectly circular library with billions of tiny, numbered shelves. On a traditional HDD, these shelves are called sectors. They are the smallest physical unit where data can be stored. On a more modern SSD, they're called pages. These are the fundamental addresses, the shelf numbers of your data. Now, reading from or writing to one tiny shelf at a time would be incredibly slow and inefficient. So, your operating system groups these tiny shelves into larger, more manageable sections, like entire aisles in the library. These groups are called blocks or clusters. A block is the smallest chunk of space your file system will bother dealing with. When you save a file, even a tiny text file, it gets assigned at least one full block of space. This is the physical grid, the city plan upon which your entire digital life is built. Every single byte of data you own has a physical address, a specific location on this grid of sectors, pages, and blocks. So we have this massive library with billions of shelves organized into aisles. But how does the computer know which books, which files are on which shelves? It can't just wander around looking for them. It needs a map, an index, a master catalog. This is the job of the file system. Think of it as the head librarian. The file system like NTFS on Windows, APFS on Mac, or ext for on Linux maintains a master index, a sophisticated table of contents. This index is the heart of your data organization. When you save a file named vacation_photos.jpg, the librarian doesn't put the whole photo album in one spot. Oh no, that would be too simple. Instead, it tears the album apart, page by page. File name, vacation_photos.jpg location, starts at block number 5034, then go to block number 98,112, then finish at block number 230 for 1567. These directions, these links from one block to the next are called pointers. They are the invisible threads that stitch your scattered data together into a coherent whole. When you double-click that file, the operating system simply asks the librarian for the map. The librarian looks at vacation_photos.jpg, gives the system the starting block number and the chain of pointers, and your computer zips around the drive, collecting all the pieces and assembling them on your screen in milliseconds. Without that entry in the index, without those pointers, the file, for all practical purposes, ceases to exist. It becomes a collection of disconnected, meaningless data fragments lost in a sea of billions of blocks. Now we arrive at the heart of the matter. We understand the physical layout blocks and the logical map the file system, index, and its pointers. So what really happens when you empty the recycle bin? The operating system doesn't send out a janitorial crew to scrub the data from those blocks. It doesn't overwrite them with zeros. It simply instructs the librarian to do one simple, elegant, and lazy thing: destroy the index card. The entry for vacation_photos JPG is removed from the master map. The pointers connecting block number 5030 to number 98,112 and number 230 for 1567 are erased. Then the librarian puts a little note on its list of available space. Blocks number 5034, number 98,112, and number 230 for 1567 are now open for new books. That's it. That's the entire act of deletion. The actual data, the raw ones south and O south that make up your photos, are still sitting there, perfectly intact inside those blocks. The file has simply become invisible. It's a ghost. The system has forgotten how to find it, so it pretends it's not there. The space is now considered unallocated, free to be used. But until the moment something new is written over it, the old data remains, a silent testament to what once was. This is where the story diverges depending on the type of drive you have. The afterlife of a deleted file is very different on a spinning hard disk drive versus a modern solid-state drive on an HDD. That unallocated space is treated with passive indifference. The drive doesn't care what's in it. Those blocks containing your old photos will just sit there, potentially for days, weeks, or even years, until the operating system needs that specific space to write a new file. Imagine a ghost town. The buildings your old data remain standing until a developer decides to bulldoze that exact spot to build a new shopping mall. This is why data recovery from HD disks can be so successful. The ghosts linger for a very long time. SSDs, however, are a different beast entirely. They are far more proactive and obsessed with efficiency. An SSD can't just write new data over old data in one step like an HDD can. It must first erase an entire block before it can write anything new to it. This erase then write process is slow. To avoid this bottleneck, SSDs employ a clever background process often called garbage collection. Think of the SSD's internal controller as a hyper-efficient city manager. As soon as the operating system marks a block as unallocated, the SSD manager puts it on a to-do list. Then, during idle moments, when you're not actively using the drive, the garbage collection process kicks in. It finds blocks with old, deleted data, copies any valid data from them to a new, fresh block, and then completely erases the old block, preparing it for future use. This is combined with wear leveling. a process that tries to spread out writes evenly across all the drive's memory cells to extend its lifespan. The result, the ghost of your deleted file on an SSD has a much shorter lifespan. The city manager is actively trying to demolish the ghost town to prepare the land for new construction. The data doesn't just wait to be overwritten, it is actively targeted for erasure. So if deleting just makes a file invisible, how do you actually destroy it? This is the difference between banishing a ghost and utterly annihilating its essence. True destruction means overwriting. Remember our vacant office with all the old furniture still inside? Overwriting is when a new tenant moves in, they throw out all the old stuff and bring in their own. When your computer finally writes a new file into the blocks that once held your deleted data, the old one south and O south are physically replaced by new one south and O south. The original information is gone. This is what secure erase or file shredder tools do. They don't just delete a file's pointer. They actively go to the blocks where the file lived and overwrite them, sometimes multiple times. A simple secure erase might write a single pass of zeros over the data. A more paranoid, government-grade standard might do multiple passes, first with zeros, then with ones, then with a random pattern of gibberish. This is like not only bulldozing the ghost town, but then grinding the rubble to dust, mixing it with concrete, and paving it over. There is absolutely nothing left to recover. SSDs have an even more elegant tool for destruction, the trim command. Remember how the SSD's garbage collection needs to know which blocks are no longer in use? The trim command is how the operating system tells it. When you delete a file on a modern OS with an SSD, the OS sends a trim command to the drive's controller for the blocks that file occupied. It's a direct message, "Hey, I'm done with these." You can wipe them whenever you're ready. This is a game changer for data security and recovery. Once the trim command is sent and the SSD's internal garbage collection erases that block, the data is gone at the hardware level. It's not just overwritten, the electrical charge in those memory cells is reset. Most data recovery software can't get it back. The ghost hasn't just been banished. Its connection to the physical world has been severed. Now we get to the most brilliant and perhaps most powerful method of data destruction used today: encryption. Many modern drives, especially in laptops and phones, encrypt all your data by default. This means every single file saved to the drive is scrambled using a complex mathematical key. Without the key, the data is just a meaningless jumble of random noise. So how do you securely erase an entire drive that's encrypted? Do you need to overwrite every single block? No, you do something far more devastatingly simple. You destroy the encryption key. Imagine your entire digital life is stored in a massive, impenetrable vault. The data is safe inside, the vault is permanent. But the only thing that can open it is a single, unique, incredibly complex key. A crypto erase is the act of vaporizing that key. You simply tell the drive to generate a new key, discarding the old one forever. The encrypted data is still there, filling the entire drive. But it is now and forever will be gibberish. It's a library full of books written in a language that no one can ever decipher again. The information is rendered permanently and instantly inaccessible. It's the most efficient and secure form of digital destruction ever invented. Of course, for intelligence agencies, a military organization, or anyone for whom data leakage is an existential threat, even the ghost of a ghost is too much risk. This is where we leave the digital realm and enter the physical. Extreme physical destruction is the final answer. This means shredding a hard drive into metal confetti. It means degaussing it with a powerful magnet that scrambles the magnetic platters into chaos. It means drilling holes straight through the platters, or even taking a drive to a smelter and melting it down into a useless lump of metal and silicon. At this point, you're not just destroying the data. You're destroying the very medium on which it was recorded. There is no coming back from this. So let's return to our original premise. If deletion is just removing a pointer, Why can we so often get our files back? Data recovery tools are the digital archaeologists of our time. They completely ignore the file system's official map. They don't ask the librarian where to look. Instead, they go directly to the drive and start excavating the unallocated space, block by block. They are programmed to look for the signatures of common file types, the specific sequence of 1 south, and O south that marks the beginning of a JPEG image, a Word document, or an MP3 file. When a recovery tool finds one of these signatures in a block that is marked as empty, it knows it's found the ruins of a deleted file. It then tries to follow the faint, ghostly remnants of the old pointers, or simply guesses which subsequent blocks belong to that file and attempts to piece the fragments back together. On an HDD, where the data can remain undisturbed for long periods, this can be incredibly successful. On an SSD, it's a race against time. You have to try and recover the file after it has been deleted, but before the trim command and garbage collection have had a chance to permanently wipe the blocks. It's a much smaller window of opportunity. The forensic trail, more than just files, digital forensics experts take this a step further. They know that a computer is a messy place that leaves digital breadcrumbs everywhere. Even if the file has been securely overwritten, traces can remain. They look in the slack space, the small, unused portion at the end of a block. If you save a small text file that only takes up half a block, the other half might still contain data from a previously deleted file that used to occupy that space. It's like finding a forgotten note tucked inside a book in the library. They look at system restore points, temporary files, browser caches, and shadow copies of documents. These are all places where fragments of deleted information can hide. For an investigator, reconstructing a timeline or finding evidence isn't always about recovering a perfect, whole file. Sometimes, a few key fragments are all they need to tell the story. So after this journey into the digital afterlife, what have we learned? What does this mean for you in your everyday life? The most important takeaway is this: deleting removes visibility. Not content, you are not destroying data. You are simply giving the system permission to destroy it at some point in the future. This knowledge is power. It empowers you to protect your privacy and to manage your data responsibly. If you're simply trying to recover a family photo you accidentally deleted, you now know that you should stop using the computer immediately to prevent it from being overwritten, and then run a recovery tool. But if you are selling, donating, or recycling an old computer, you now understand that just deleting your files and emptying the recycle bin is like leaving the front door of your house wide open with all your belongings inside. You must take steps for true destruction. For most people, using your operating system as built-in secure erase function or a reputable third-party tool to wipe the drive is enough. For truly sensitive data, make sure you enable your device's full disk encryption like BitLocker on Windows or FileVault on Mac. It's the easiest and most robust protection you can have. And if you're a super spy, well, you probably have access to a good drill. So I leave you with a question to ponder. How many digital ghosts are currently haunting the old devices you've given away? What stories could they tell? Think about it. Your digital life is your legacy. Understanding how it's stored, how it's deleted, and how it's destroyed is no longer a niche technical skill. It is essential digital literacy for the modern age. I hope this journey into the hidden world of your computer has been as eye-opening for you as it is fascinating to me. And as always, I wish you and your loved ones nothing but the best of health. If you found this exploration valuable, please consider subscribing and joining our community of curious minds. We have so many more secrets of the digital world to uncover together. Until next time.